Got
So
it.
we'll start with the Donald West side. So I think I'll just start kind of left to right. So what we found, and actually let me move this over. So Theodore and Wilhelmina. So both Henry West and Theodore named women named Wilhelmina, and Henry West Wilhelmina is the one who went by Minnie.
Okay.
Theodore Vanderwyst died of a intracranial hemorrhage, I think. Yep, he had high blood pressure and a cerebral hemorrhage. So the big thing for him is like every 10 years, the census for Theodore Vanderwyst had different occupations. One year he was a saloon keeper. One year he was a farmer. One year he was a laborer. And on one of their census reports, they did have living with them a domestic servant named Johanna Bergsman. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But this is like the first, these might take a little bit to pop up, but. So you can see here, it's right in this section right here. John West, Petronella West, and Theodore West. And that's where he was a laborer. They all were born in Holland. There's no real clear on all of the stuff for Theodore Vanderwyst. There's no real address, because in those days it looks like it was the Kaukauna area. It was just broken up by regions. So I would have to call the city of Kaukauna and try to figure out where that was. But his mom was an older mom, so she was 42 when she had Theodore. So this is this blue dot here, Petronella Hendricks Van Stiphout. Theodore's mom, so she was 42 or 43 when she had Theodore, and he looks like he was an only child. I think here he's living with like an uncle or a brother. I'm not sure who this John West is, but this is after George Vanderwyst had died.
So in the census, it's west. It's switched over to west suddenly.
Yeah, so, and that's the same thing. So that the siblings of Henry West, that generation of Henry West, half of those birth certificates are West and half are Vanderwyst, and they're all brothers and sisters.
That's so freaking bizarre.
I know. Yeah. So I think it was just a matter of who they talked to at the counter. I think if they talked to someone who understood Dutch language, they would say Vanderwyst, and otherwise they would say West.
Oh, that's probably right on.
So this is his, when his daughter got married, this, and let me know if you want me to like blow these up or if you can see them okay, but this is his daughter's wedding registration. So here, the full name of the father of the wife on line 8 here is Theodore West, and the mom is Wilhelmina West, and the wife was born in Little Chute. And this looks like the marriage was 1896, I would guess, in the village of Wauwatosa.
Oh.
Wow.
So this is Milwaukee, yeah, 1896. So this is all the, and the husband was John Miller, Miller, one of his son-in-laws. And
that was Theodore's only daughter?
No, Theodore had a lot of kids.
Oh,
so
okay.
Henry West had lots of siblings. So this is one of Henry West's sisters.
Okay.
So paper business, blah, blah, blah. So that's just one thing where I found, again, you're right, it's a Theodore West and an Anna West and a Wilhelmina West. So Theodore's obituary, I could not find a full obituary for him, and I like registered for many newspapers and couldn't find it, but this is the best one I could find. So Theodore West died at Grand Chute at the age of 80, funeral at St. John's Church, survived by 5 sons and 1 daughter, and that's Henry West.
Okay.
Lisa, I know you're only a little way into this, but you are amazing.
Amazing.
So thank you. Okay. Let's have fewer interruptions. Thank you.
Albert is Karen.
So
Great.
this is St. John's Church in Freedom, Dad?
No, St. Nicholas is in Freedom.
Yeah.
Okay.
St. John's is Little Shoot.
Little Shoot, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
here's
Little
St.
Shoot.
John's.
Okay, so Dad, this word is a last name.
Okay.
Nepomucene. So St. John whatever.
Nepomucene.
He was a saint from the 13th century. So this Reverend Theodore came
Vandenbroek.
from Holland to make a church based on St. John Nepomucene from the 13th century. So
Okay.
this is where Theodore is buried. So we went there, and here's what it looks like. And Dad very quickly tracked down the oldest part of the cemetery and not the more modern stones.
Mm.
And this is the stone for Wilhelmina. So Wilhelmina here in the yellow. So it's really hard to see, but this is Wilhelmina Hendricks, wife of Theo Vanderwyst, who died on July 24th, 1886, aged 42 years, 5 months, and 2 days.
What cemetery
She
is that?
died in childbirth then, right? Oh, no.
No.
Theodore's mom was 42. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Yep.
This is St. John's.
In Little Shoot.
In
Okay.
Little
Little Shoot. So I would say 20 yards away from that headstone, nearby, but not on the side of. They're separated by some bit. Oh, here's another Hendricks. So there were 2 other stones for siblings of Wilhelmina. 2 of her sisters are also buried there. I think this is Anna Hendricks. And then there's another one here for Harriet, I think. Okay, so this is the stone that we found, which is spelled differently. So I have never seen it spelled Wyest. It's everywhere it's been either a Wijst or WY. So again, who knows? But so we went there on Friday, and I called the cemetery that afternoon and said, we found this headstone. I'm just wondering, can you confirm that this is where Theodore is buried? Because I found the gravestone for Wilhelmina. I'm guessing this is Theodore. They have no records for the old section of the cemetery, could not even confirm Wilhelmina on their paperwork, which we had seen with our own eyes. Mm-hmm. So he said anytime that people were buried, and Theodore would have been buried at the start of World War I, there may have been headstones there that were just illegible, and someone later knew that they were buried there and put a headstone for Vanderwyst. So there's a good chance that this is Theodore and his mom and maybe his dad. They might all be there, but I'm pretty confident that that's Theodore's headstone because it's a Vanderwyst at St. John's, and we know he's buried there. But that's the best we could find there. So I talked to Roger at the cemetery.
Yeah, good old Raj.
So this is one of Wilhelmina's sisters, Harriet. So she's there too. So just a few things on this part of the family. So Wilhelmina was one of 7 children, and she married Theodore on May 18th of 1863 at St. John's in Little Shoot. It looks like all of the Wilhelmina's family was born in the Netherlands, as was Theodore. I think Theodore came over when he was about 15 years old, but I can't find that for sure. And I do think, Dad, we found, let me just see here. There's one other. Oh, that may have not, because I think we found another, this is Harriet's husband. Okay, so that's pretty much it on Theodore, Wilhelmina, and their parents.
Can I interject something about the last name Vanderwyst?
Yeah, yeah.
Just a fun fact. I have a friend, a younger gal at church that I mentor, and when she came to my house and saw mom and dad's memorial cards on the fridge, she said, "Oh, your maiden name is West. Oh, I have relatives that are West." And she said, "But their name used to be Vanderwyst." And so we were like, we might be related. It was, so she got her family book. And I'm looking for it on my phone. I have a picture that I took a long time ago that Dad had of the family tree. But anyway, so she brought her family book to my house, and I had this picture open that I can't find right now, but we started looking, and all of a sudden we were like, oh, it's not the same, because they spelled it Vanderwist. But we kept looking and found out that this Henry West's brother, our great-grandfather, is her great-great-grandfather. So we really are related. But anyway, in all of her, and we could look at other names, we were definitely related. All of her documents spell it Wist.
Oh, interesting.
So isn't that, when you had the gravestone with a different spelling, probably language barrier or whatever. So
Right.
there's other spellings out there of the same
Right.
family.
Right. And it is interesting that it spans multiple generations where they kind of flip the name around. Like, I would have guessed that was limited to one generation and they wrapped it up, but really it flipped and flopped quite a bit. Okay, so then let me go to, let's go over here. So John and Maria, who gave birth to Joanna, who married Herman, and that was Lawrence's middle name, Lawrence Herman West, who gave birth to Wilhelmina. So the important, not that they weren't important people, but the big standout here is Herman Eben. He is the one that came over and founded Little Chute. So that's him. And we did find the gravestones for John and Maria. So Dad, this is the line I was trying to explain. So
Yep.
I'll open up them. So this would be Henry and Wilhelmina.
Grandpas.
And
Sorry, great.
So that's
These
our
were in
great grandfather.
great-great-great-grandfather, John.
So-
Van-
Yeah, this would be your great-grandmother Wilhelmina, your great-great-grandfather Herman,
Herman,
your
yes.
great-great-great-grandfather John.
Right.
So this is, and these dates are off to what I have on Ancestry.com, but they're too freaking close to be a coincidence. So,
This is in St. Nicholas in Freedom.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is John Vanderlinden and Mary Vanderlinden, who are nearby. So the one interesting thing, though, I don't think we found Herman Eben's grave. Let me look here. I checked them all off.
No, we didn't.
No, those were the only two we didn't. And he was the founder of Little Chute. So those are those two graves.